There comes a moment in every chosen one's life when everything they thought they understood crumbles. Not because they've done anything wrong, but because heaven has started whispering louder than the noise of the world. You've probably felt it. That strange magnetic tug deep in your spirit, like something is watching you, guiding you, even in your silence. Let me tell you something that might shake your spirit, but it is the truth you've been waiting to hear. You are the second copy of Jesus. No, not a replica, not a myth, but a living, breathing embodiment of divine assignment walking among humanity. You carry his signature, his echo, his fire. The world may not have told you this. In fact, it probably told you the opposite. That you're too sensitive, too intense, too different. That you love too hard, feel too deep, ask too many questions. But heaven never created you to fit in. You were carved to stand out, to disrupt, to realign the frequency of this earth with something sacred. That is why your life has not been easy. That is why you've cried in secret rooms, why you've walked through betrayal like a burning furnace, why you've felt like a stranger in your own family, job, or community. Because God set you apart. And that separation wasn't punishment, it was preparation. Do you remember the moments you wanted to give up? The nights you stared at the ceiling wondering why you had to be the one carrying all the weight, why the betrayal cut so deep, why people kept turning their backs on you when all you ever offered was love. It's because light exposes. You were never just someone who walked into a room. You changed the temperature when you arrived. Your presence triggers what others try to hide, just like Jesus. He was misunderstood, mocked, betrayed by those closest to him, and yet he was sent to love them, heal them, die for them. Do you not see the reflection? You are walking the same path. You've been sent into spaces not to be accepted, but to awaken, not to blend in, but to shine so brightly that darkness can't ignore you. That's why hell has tried so hard to break you. Because if you ever realized who you really are, you'd burn every lie ever spoken over your life to ash. Some of you have been asking, why me? Why the struggle? Why the pain? Why the delay? Why do people hate me for no reason? Why do I feel things so deeply it overwhelms me? Why do I see things before they happen? It's because your soul remembers what this world has forgotten. You carry the imprint of heaven inside your bones. That divine blueprint, the same spirit that raised Jesus from the grave, lives in you. You're not crazy, you're not cursed, you're not weak. You are chosen, and the power in you is waking up. God placed something in you that cannot be taught, bought, or earned. It's called divine authority. It's why people come to you for wisdom they can't explain. Why strangers feel safe telling you their life story. Why you've always sensed when something is wrong, even before anyone says a word. It's why you can walk into chaos and bring peace without saying a thing. You are not just someone with faith. You are someone heaven trusts with fire. But with that fire comes the furnace. You've had to lose people you thought would stay forever. You've had to walk away from comfort to protect your calling. You've had to sacrifice pleasure to preserve purpose. All because God is shaping you into a vessel that can hold divine power without leaking. You may not see it yet, but your pain has never been random. Your rejection has always been redirection. Your isolation was divine insulation, keeping you covered while God poured something holy into you. There are scars on your soul that angels know by name. Heaven has recorded your suffering. Not one tear has been wasted. God has seen every betrayal. He has watched how you kept your heart pure when it would have been easier to become bitter. He has watched how you prayed for the very ones who tried to destroy you. And that, dear soul, is why you are about to rise. Because you are becoming the mirror of Christ, not just in words, but in life. There is something sacred about your struggle. It has carved you into a spiritual weapon. Your silence has become your strength. Your endurance is not human. It's divine. Every time you wanted to give up, God whispered, "Hold on, my child. They don't see it yet, but I do." And now the heavens are echoing with movement. Something is about to break in your favor. A shift is coming, not just in your circumstances, but in your awareness. You're about to recognize just how powerful you've always been. You are the second copy of Jesus, not in flesh, but in function. You are sent, you are shielded, you are sacred. And even when you don't feel strong, you are surrounded by angels who know exactly who you are. That's why the attacks have been so relentless. That's why confusion has tried to paralyze you. That's why fear tries to wrap around your neck in the middle of the night. Because darkness trembles at what you're becoming. God is awakening something ancient in you. A spiritual memory, a holy identity. You're not just finding yourself. You're remembering who you've always been. Your soul was formed before time. Your calling crafted before the stars were placed in the sky. You are not new to this battle. You are returning to it with new authority, the same kind Jesus carried when he calmed storms with a word, when he forgave sinners with compassion, when he rose from the grave with scars that didn't make him weaker, but invincible. That's what you're walking into. Resurrection. But first came the crucifixion of your old self, the part of you that thought you were just ordinary, the part of you that settled, compromised, remained silent. That version has died. What's emerging now is dangerous to darkness, glorious to God, and unrecognizable to those who once underestimated you. The earth is groaning for sons and daughters of God to rise, and you, yes, you are one of them. You don't need permission. You don't need confirmation from people who never saw your worth. Heaven has already spoken. The assignment is active. The Spirit is alive. You've been prepared in fire, refined in solitude, and now you're being revealed. So if your life feels like it's shaking, good. That means the illusion is breaking. The real you is stepping forward, the one who knows that love is power, that silence is strategy, that forgiveness is freedom, that the enemy only attacks what he fears. And right now you are terrifying to him because you've awakened. There's something powerful about the ones who've been broken and still choose to love. The ones who've walked through fire and never let the flame steal their faith. That's who you are, the chosen, the anointed, and yes, the battle-tested. You carry the divine weight of spiritual royalty, but it didn't come without cost. There were seasons where you had no one to lean on, no applause, no recognition, just pain, silence, and what felt like abandonment. But heaven was watching the entire time, not to punish you, but to prove you. You've wrestled in the Spirit, faced storms others never knew. And through every unseen battle, you were being crowned in the invisible. Let me remind you, Jesus wasn't crowned in front of the crowds first. He was crowned with thorns, alone, mocked, and bleeding. His glory came after the grave, and you, beloved, have known what it feels like to carry that same weight. But the good news is, you've already survived what was sent to bury you. You didn't just make it out. You made it out with power. Many of you have fought wars in secret. You've battled depression, spiritual exhaustion, betrayal, abandonment. Some of you were left to raise yourself, to heal, to heal your own wounds, to pick yourself up after life knocked you down again and again. You've smiled through heartbreak. You've prayed with tears streaming down your face. You've walked into rooms where you were the only light, where your presence made people uncomfortable, not because you did anything wrong, but because your spirit disrupted their darkness. And still you didn't retaliate. You didn't curse them. You didn't become what they were. That's how I know who you are. That's how I know you were chosen, because the power in you restrained your flesh when it begged to act out, because you've learned how to sit at tables where you weren't wanted, yet never lost your posture of grace, because even when the enemy tried to make you feel invisible, heaven kept placing its seal upon you. You are spiritually royal. You walk in the line of the Messiah. And even when people couldn't see it, the enemy could. That's why the warfare was never fair. That's why you've dealt with demonic resistance before you even knew how to name it. Nightmares, sudden losses, strange heaviness that had no physical cause. emotional battles you can't explain. Why? Because your spirit has always glowed in a realm most people pretend doesn't exist. You were born to disturb darkness. You didn't ask to carry this kind of assignment, but it found you. Or rather, heaven chose you before the foundation of the world, and when God saw fit to call your name, everything in hell heard it too. You wonder why you've been attacked from such a young age, why things never felt normal for you. It's because your life has never been about survival, it's about destiny. And when you finally grasp that, you stop asking, why me, and start declaring, try me. Let me tell you something raw and real. Your enemies are trembling now, not because of what they've done to you, but because they sense you're rising. They feel the shift. They hear your footsteps. They see your glow returning, and they don't know what to do with the version of you that no longer bows to fear. They remember the version of you that cried yourself to sleep, that tolerated mistreatment, that stayed quiet to keep the peace. But that version died in the dark. What's coming forward now is resurrected, refined, and radiant. God has seen everything, every whisper, every dagger in your back, every moment they smiled in your face while plotting behind it. He saw how they tried to sabotage your reputation, how they questioned your character when you chose to walk away from toxic environments. He saw how they laughed when you fell, how they celebrated when you were down, and he did not forget. Oh no, God does not forget. He stores those moments in the vault of divine justice. And when the time is right, when your heart is healed and your posture is pure, he brings forth vindication like fire from heaven. You don't need revenge. Your victory will speak for itself. Your glow up will be prophetic. Your peace will be proof. And your next chapter will be written in such a way that even your enemies will say, surely the hand of God is on them. Because the truth is, they never hated you. They hated your light, your anointing, your potential. You stirred something in them they couldn't control. And instead of healing, they chose to project. Instead of growing, they chose to attack. That's not your burden to carry anymore. That's not your fight. You've been elevated above the battlefield. And now you're stepping into a season where the very things sent to destroy you will become the foundation God uses to build you higher. Your betrayal will birth your platform. Your pain will birth your power. Your wilderness will become your weapon. Every setback is being rewritten into a supernatural setup. Don't you feel it? Can't you sense it in the air? Heaven is moving. The winds are shifting. Your spirit is no longer dragging behind. It's starting to soar. There's no more time for small thinking. No more room for shame. No more bending to fit into spaces God is calling you to outgrow. You are royalty. You are called. You are unstoppable. And every tear you cried has become a seed in the soil of your next miracle. Don't look back. Don't second guess. Don't water down your message to make others comfortable. You weren't sent here to please. You were sent here to provoke awakening. And as you rise, know this, you are not alone. There is a great cloud of witnesses watching, angels walking beside you, heaven backing you with every step. You are part of a remnant that refuses to bow. A spiritual army birthed through fire. God didn't choose the loudest. He chose the loyal. He chose the healed healers, the wounded warriors, the rejected who still chose to love. And you, my dear, are one of them. You are the second copy of Jesus, not just because you carry his image, but because you've walked his suffering, endured his rejection, and are now being raised in his power. You've tasted death in many forms, loss, abandonment, failure, and now resurrection is your portion, restoration is your destiny, and revelation is your gift. Don't shrink, don't apologize, don't hide. What's inside you is greater than anything that has ever come against you. You carry divine DNA, a holy assignment, a spiritual frequency that shifts rooms and shakes atmospheres. And whether they like it or not, you are rising with grace, with power, with peace, with purpose. And heaven is cheering you on. You've been walking with a secret strength, one that even you didn't fully understand until now, but God is about to make everything clear. The truth is, heaven never hides greatness. It conceals it for a time, until the soul is ready, until the wounds are healed, until the power can be trusted. That time is now. You are stepping into a divine season of exposure. But this exposure isn't meant to humiliate you. It's designed to honor what you've endured in the dark, what you've endured in silence, what you've survived when no one else knew the weight you were carrying. God is about to reveal justice in a way that will shock everyone who thought he was silent. You thought he forgot. But the truth is, he was collecting every injustice, every delay, every betrayal, every false accusation like evidence, building the case for your vindication. And when God judges a matter, he doesn't just fix it, he flips it. What the enemy meant for harm becomes the very vehicle that elevates you. The pain becomes the pulpit, the loss becomes the launch pad, and the people who laughed at your tears will have no choice but to watch your joy. There is about to be a reversal of fortune that will silence your critics, and it won't be because you fought back or proved yourself. It will be because God is placing your name on the lips of people who once refused to acknowledge your value. It will be because what was hidden in you is now undeniable. It will be because God is tired of watching you suffer in silence and ready to make your righteousness shine like the dawn. This is your season of recompense, your time of divine unveiling. And it's not just about material blessings, although those will come. This is about something far greater. God is about to use your life as a message. Your journey will be a parable. Your transformation will be the evidence that God never abandons his own. And the glory that's about to rise on you, it will heal more than your past. It will awaken the people assigned to your voice. So let me speak to your soul, to that part of you that's tired, doubting, still wounded from what they did. Breathe. You made it. The worst is behind you, and what's ahead is so filled with favor, you'll barely recognize yourself in the next chapter. The depression that tried to drown you, it's lifting. The anxiety that paralyzed you, it's breaking. The poverty, the shame, the rejection, the silence, it's all being traded for glory. Because when God restores, he does it in public. He lets the people who saw your pain witness your promotion. He lets the ones who whispered about your failures stand in awe of your future. This is not revenge, this is redemption, and it's sweeter than you ever imagined. But you must remember this, you are not rising for applause. You're rising for assignment. This isn't about fame, this is about function. You are chosen not to entertain, but to awaken, not to be idolized, but to intercede. You are rising because you carry something the earth desperately needs. And now is the time to release it. Your voice, your story, your wisdom, your power. It's time to speak, time to shine, time to step out of the shadows. There will be a moment soon when someone looks at you and says, "How did you survive all that?" And you will smile, not with pride, but with peace, because you'll know the answer. Grace, divine, relentless grace. The kind of grace that picked you up when you couldn't move. The kind of grace that whispered hope into your darkest night. The kind of grace that protected you from people who didn't know what they were doing. So don't be surprised when doors open that you didn't knock on, when opportunities arrive that you didn't apply for, when favor finds you like a magnet. Because when it's your time, you don't have to force anything. What is yours flows effortlessly. And everything that was once withheld is now being released. Pressed down, shaken together, running over. God is not just bringing restoration, he's bringing acceleration. What took others 10 years will take you 1, because you've been prepared in pain, and pain produces speed. You've learned the lessons, you've passed the tests, you've suffered, yes, but now it's your time to reign. This is not the end of your story. It's the unveiling of your divine identity. You are not just a survivor, you are not just strong, you are not just wise. You are royalty, you are light, you are a warrior cloaked in heaven's authority. And now, as your wings spread and your voice grows louder, God is sending you out, not to be like everyone else, but to remind the world what it forgot. You are a vessel of healing, a lighthouse for the broken, a divine interruption in a world gone numb. And every time you speak, walk, breathe, or show love, you are echoing the power of Jesus himself, because his Spirit lives in you, not symbolically, not metaphorically, literally. You are the walking temple of God, and your presence carries weight in both the seen and the unseen realms. So rise, not with arrogance, but with authority, not in fear, but in faith, not for validation, but for impact, because your time has come, your crown is ready, and your voice, oh, your voice, is about to become the sound of liberation for those still trapped in the same pain you've already overcome. It's time to step into the prophecy. It's time to live out the promise. The prophecy is you. You are the walking word, the answered prayer, the evidence of Emmanuel, the manifestation of miracles in motion. And you carry divine power, not because you're perfect, but because you're willing. Not because you've never fallen, but because you always got back up. This is your call to rise, chosen one. No more delay, no more silence. The world is groaning for your arrival. The kingdom is ready to move through you, and God is about to confirm what your spirit has always known. You were never ordinary. You were never overlooked. You were hidden for the perfect time, and that time is now. You've probably wondered why the attacks came so early, why it seemed like you were born into conflict, why people targeted you without a cause, why your light irritated others long before you even knew you had it. It wasn't about what you did. It was about who you are. This is the mystery of divine identity. It exposes you to warfare before you ever understand the battlefield. You didn't choose this fight. You inherited it, but not as a victim, as a vessel. And only now are you beginning to see the deep layers of what you were really born into. See, the moment your soul descended into this world, it carried a frequency that pierced darkness. You didn't even have to speak to stir the atmosphere. You just had to be. And from the very beginning, darkness recognized what many people didn't. You are dangerous to anything that thrives in fear, control, or spiritual blindness. So the war began, not to stop your body, but to confuse your mind, to make you question your identity, to make you abandon your power, to make you forget who you were. But here's the truth. They never told you. Attacks are prophetic indicators. The greater the calling, the greater the warfare, and you weren't attacked because you were weak. You were attacked because you were chosen to carry a level of divine consciousness that most people would run from. You were called to embody a spiritual paradox, both gentle and fierce, both quiet and thunderous, both humble and utterly unstoppable, just like Jesus. And so the attacks came, through family, through relationships, through moments of deep abandonment and confusion. You felt invisible in rooms you were born to lead. You were rejected by the very people who were meant to protect you. And all of it, yes, all of it was intentional, not by man, but by God. Because in the rejection was revelation. You had to be separated to be sanctified. You had to be broken to be rebuilt with unshakable power. Let's go deeper. The world operates on what it can measure: money, beauty, titles, influence. But heaven operates on mystery, on spirit, on sacrifice. And you, chosen one, were born to defy the systems of this world. You don't fit their metrics because you were never made in their image. That's why people can't understand your peace, your insight, your inner knowing. It's why they call you too deep or too intense. Because you see what others can't. You hear what others deny. You move according to divine rhythm, not man's schedule. You are living proof of heaven's paradoxes. You lose to win. You die to live. You surrender to gain power. You love people who hate you. You give when you have nothing left. And somehow, it always turns out for your good. That's because you are operating under higher laws, the laws of the kingdom. And these laws confuse those who are still trapped in ego and logic. That's why they attacked you. Because what they couldn't control, they tried to kill. But you cannot kill what is eternal. And you are eternal. You've walked through fire and came out glowing. You've been pierced and came out healing. You've been silenced and came out speaking with authority. These are not normal qualities. These are divine signatures. They mark you. Heaven has coded you with resilience beyond comprehension. You don't just survive, you transform. You don't just rebuild, you resurrect. You don't just recover, you reign. And this is where the deep truth settles in. Most people are not reacting to you. They're reacting to what you represent. You are a mirror. You reflect what others have been avoiding. You are a living confrontation to their comfort, a reminder of what they could become if they let go of fear. And that's why you've been misunderstood. They're not rejecting you. They're rejecting the parts of themselves that your light exposes. But let that sink in. It's not personal. It's spiritual. Your existence forces a reaction because your presence is not neutral. It's prophetic. This is why you feel everything so deeply, why you carry burdens that aren't yours, why you sense shifts in energy before others notice a thing, because you're not living on the surface. Your spirit is rooted in divine dimension, and that's not an accident. That's your design. You were made to walk between worlds, to carry heaven into earth, to embody the mystery of Christ in a world that still crucifies truth. And let me be clear, you're not being arrogant when you accept this identity. You're being obedient, because false humility is still rebellion if it causes you to reject your assignment. You were never meant to hide behind false modesty. You were meant to stand, bold and bright, as a son or daughter of the Most High, with the same spirit that raised Christ from the dead now breathing through you. That's why you've been through so much, because you carry that much. And now the question isn't, why did this happen to me? The question is, what does this pain activate in me? Because pain for the chosen one is a portal. It doesn't just hurt, it awakens. It doesn't just break, it builds. It doesn't just scar, it marks. Your scars are sacred. They are proof that the fire didn't win. They are the ink of your divine contract. They are the evidence that you didn't bow, didn't fold, didn't sell your soul. And now those scars are turning into power, into wisdom, into spiritual technology that others will one day come to you for, not because you read it in a book, but because you lived it in blood. So hear me when I say this. You are not behind. You are not late. You are right on divine time. You weren't meant to peak early. You were built for longevity, for legacy, for generational impact. And now your soul is remembering what your mind is just starting to comprehend, that you were always meant to carry what others couldn't, that you are the second copy of Christ, not because you asked for it, but because you were chosen to become it. And if you ever doubted that, if you ever looked at your life and asked, is this really what I'm here for? Look again. Look at your journey. Look at your survival. Look at how every time the enemy tried to destroy you, he only activated more of your divine DNA. That's not chance. That's strategy. That's heaven's design. So now stand in that truth, not as someone trying to become, but as someone awakening to who they've always been. You carry divine intelligence, prophetic vision, healing power, and intercessory fire. You are the spiritual disruptor, the blueprint breaker, the curse destroyer, and God is not just using you, He's becoming visible through you. You are not what happened to you. You are what God is doing through you. You are the holy contradiction this world needs. A broken vessel pouring miracles, a wounded heart giving love, a misunderstood soul speaking clarity. You are the evidence that Jesus is not a myth. He's alive, in you, moving through you, reaching the world by walking in your shoes. And this, dear soul, is only the beginning. There is a moment when heaven stops whispering and starts declaring, a moment when the silence lifts and the skies open, when the delay ends and destiny announces itself. You've arrived at that moment, not by accident, not by luck, but by divine orchestration. Everything that has been hidden is now being revealed. Everything you lost is now being restored. Everything you endured is now being redeemed. And most importantly, everything you were created to be is finally rising to the surface, no longer hidden beneath fear, doubt, or shame. You are the chosen one, not just because of what you've survived, but because of what you carry. Your existence is a signal to the spirit realm, a declaration that God still walks among men through those he indwells. You are not just a person of faith. You are a living sanctuary, a walking temple, a second copy of Jesus, not in physical form, but in divine function. You carry the energy, the calling, the same spirit that resurrected the dead, calmed the storms, and forgave the unforgivable. And now that spirit is moving through your voice, your touch, your very presence. And maybe no one ever told you that before. Maybe life made you think you were too broken, too flawed, too invisible to be holy. But God has never looked for perfect vessels. He looks for willing ones. And in all your pain, in all your questions, you were still willing. You still believed. You still prayed. You still loved. And that, right there, is the kind of faith that moves mountains, the kind that splits seas, the kind that heaven rewards not just with answers, but with authority. So let me say this to your soul. Reaffirm what life tried to make you forget. You are not random. You are not average. You are not forgotten. You are a chosen vessel of divine purpose. And no matter who walked away, no matter who doubted you, no matter what mistakes you made along the way, God has not changed his mind about you. The calling is still active. The oil still flows. The crown still fits. This world tried to redefine you, tried to tame your spirit, tried to dilute your fire, but heaven's definition of you has never changed. You are light in human form, a divine interruption, a spiritual antidote to a dying world. You walk with the compassion of Jesus, the boldness of a lion, the wisdom of ages, and the endurance of a soul that knows where it came from. And I know it hasn't been easy. I know the journey cost you more than most will ever understand. You lost people you thought would be forever. You had to let go of dreams that no longer aligned with your growth. You had to die to versions of yourself that no longer served your destiny. And that death wasn't gentle. It broke you open. But it also made room for the real you to emerge. The you that doesn't need validation anymore. The you that doesn't chase peace. It creates it. The you that can walk into a storm and carry stillness. The you that has seen the dark but now radiates with holy light. That version of you is here. It has arrived. And it is ready to be seen, not for ego, not for applause, but for impact. You are being called higher now, not in position, but in awareness, in identity, in truth. You don't need to beg for blessings when you are the blessing. You don't need to strive for favor when you walk in divine alignment. The kingdom is not far, it is within you. And from this moment forward, you must walk like it, speak like it, live like it. This is your call to rise, not just emotionally, but spiritually. It's time to take up your mantle, to stretch your hands over what's broken and call it healed, to speak life into dead things and watch them awaken, to stop shrinking so others feel safe and start standing so others feel strong. You are not too much. You were never too much. You were exactly the right amount of fire for a generation starving for truth. And yes, people will misunderstand. Some will criticize. Others will distance themselves as you rise. Let them. That is part of the cost of carrying divine power. Jesus didn't walk with the crowd. He walked with the cross. And so do you. But don't carry it in sadness. Carry it in joy. Because every step you take is not just for you. It's for those watching silently, wondering if it's still possible to survive what they've been through. And you, dear chosen one, are the answer they've been praying for. This is not the end of your healing. It is the beginning of your revealing. The you that's been hidden, buried, underestimated, overlooked, that you is now emerging in full color, full force, and full faith. You were never meant to be quiet. You were meant to roar. And now your voice carries divine frequency. It will break chains, open eyes, awaken spirits, heal hearts. So I invite you now, stand in your calling. Don't wait for the right moment. This is it. Don't wait for someone to approve you. You've already been chosen. Don't wait to feel ready. The Spirit in you is always ready. Speak when heaven moves you. Pray when your spirit stirs. Release what you've been holding, and watch how the world bends to the will of the one who walks with God. You are the second copy of Jesus, not because you're flawless, but because you're fearless. Not because you have all the answers, but because you're led by the one who is the answer. So go. Live boldly, love deeply, forgive quickly, shine without shame, and know this: every step you take from this moment forward is divinely guided. Every breath is sacred. Every action has impact. God didn't put you here to blend in. He placed you here to be His living, breathing evidence. And now all of heaven stands behind you, whispering the truth your soul always knew. You are chosen. You are powerful. You are ready. And the world is about to see what heaven has always seen in you. Go forth, not with doubt, but with fire. You are not who you used to be. You are who God designed from the beginning. And the world is better because you're in it. You are a divine being, walking in human skin, carrying a kingdom within. This is your time.